Hey guys, it's Daniel. Welcome back.
So, in terms of the production on Great Southern Trendkill, do you know why the band chose to record that album in such dark tuning?
I don't know. That was the last record they did with Terry, and I don't know. I want to say that here we are coming off of Far Beyond Driven, which was not all the same tuning. They had a couple of tunes that were standard tuning for them, and then they had a couple of songs that were like a drop C type tuning, which C sharp, which was things like 5 Minutes Alone. I'm just trying to think back to some of my tuning charts from touring because I was Rex's tech. I don't know that there's an exact answer for that, honestly, because they were experimenting with lower and different tunings, because the whole Cowboys album is almost A440 standard tuning. I think there's one or two songs on that album that are a drop D. Then they get into Vulgar, and they started going into this C sharp tuning. It was a standard tuning setup, interval wise, but the way tunings work, it is a thing that guitar players especially explore, and new tunings inspire new riffs or pieces of music, especially in the heavy metal thing, which led to that whole subgenre called gent. And so I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so that in turn, every album that they did, there's more of that there. And Trendkill, they really got low. They started using really big gauge E strings, and we're going down to like A sharp, I think. I mean, that's really flipping low on War Nerve and Sandblasted Skin. Those are like drop A sharp. And so that whole album really went, because the tunings were going lower and lower, that those tunings inspired heavier riffs. They inspired heavier music, darker music. And I just think that one was a product of the other kind of thing. One thing fed the other, so to speak. But I wasn't in the room for a lot of that, because if you were to ever see their studio when it was here, it's no longer a place. But when it was built out and it was a place, the control room was very tiny. It was just a small building, and it was a very tiny control room, and the outside room where they tracked drums and everything was an open room, and they would put guitar amps and bass amps in there. It was all one big open space, and there wasn't really any, you couldn't fit a bunch of people in there. So I wasn't there a lot for that one. I was up in the house tuning guitars and teching basses and stuff. So it was Terry Date and Ulrich Wild at that point, doing the recording and the producing on that album. So I wasn't there for a whole lot of it. I did do a little bit of guitar recording with Dime when Terry and Ulrich weren't available, but as far as the philosophy of that goes, that's my take on it. And that's where they were headed with it. Dime was always looking for something new.
That's so cool. Do you ever
want to go heavier, want to go darker,
Yeah. Did you work on Floods by any chance?
No, I didn't. That was Terry Date.
Hey, no worries. So then just a general question, because if you look at the chronology of Pantera's records, I mean, the first 4 records, it was always 2 years in between. And then there's this 4-year gap between Southern Trendkill and Reinventing. Is there any particular reason why the band took extra time, or did it just happen that way?
Well, the live record happened in between. So they were touring that recording that was mixed from McAllen, Texas, was on the Great Southern Trendkill tour. We literally mixed that album while they were in the middle of Ozzfest. So they came home on a break from Trendkill, recording all the Trendkill stuff around the world. And we went through all of those shows and tapes and stuff, and we found kind of a pattern, if you will, that this Texas run that they did on the Great Southern Trendkill tour was just awesome. They were hitting on all cylinders. We grabbed this one particular show from McAllen, Texas, that was the best of all of them. We said, we're going to mix this one. And then they went back out on the Ozzfest. They came back home. We mixed that album while they were on that break. And then I went back out with them to go master the album in New York. And then we went back out on the Ozzfest. They dropped the live album as a release. And then we started the tour cycle for the live album immediately. So they didn't ever stop touring or making music in the studio. It went from one thing to the other very quickly. And so a lot of people overlook that, well, here's the gap, but we were making music and touring. We were touring for the live album. Yeah, I know it sounds funny.
I was going to say, I've never heard that before. We're when
you put it into perspective chronologically, they did the Trendkill tour. Then we did the live album. We recorded and mixed 2 brand new songs for the live album. Then we put that out and immediately went back out on tour for the live album. Then we went back and did Reinventing the Steel.